episode of the Planeswalkers Pub. I'm your host, Aaron.
I'm Eric.
Howdy, it's RJ. Today we're going to be talking about the cards that we are excited for in Thrones of Eldraine. But first, let's talk about our signature card.
Yes, every episode of the Planeswalkers Pub will feature a signature card that may or may not relate to the episode's topic. But first, make sure to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. This way you stay up to date on the newest episodes.
Today's signature card is Last Word. Last Word costs 2 and 2 blue. It is an instant from Darksteel that says, Last Word can't be countered by spells or abilities. Counter target spell. Someday, someone will best me. But it won't be today, and it won't be you.
So what decks can or should this go into?
So normally I say any deck, but I feel like
but
not every deck can run this. So
So
you kind of want to put this in a mono blue deck.
Justin Dirty Boys, they play a format. They do their own sort of pseudo format when they play Commander. They'll do budget Commander, like, oh, you can only spend $50 or under on this deck. Mm-hmm. I'm willing to bet, not sure as of this moment, that that's not a very expensive card.
No, it's only like 30 cents in that sense.
Rather than having a Dovin's Veto, which is a couple of bucks, or $1 million card like Force of Will, slip this in.
Yeah, and it's basically the same principle like Dovin's Veto.
Most counter spells that aren't Force of Will or Mana Drain are usually affordable.
But can they be countered?
Yes.
They can be.
Yes. This is an uncounterable counterspell.
Well,
if that's what you feel like you need, this will fit.
And
Well,
also,
with Narset's Reversal, I guess the term would be interrupted.
or moved around or kind of redirected. Yeah, I guess
can
it
be
technically
messed
makes
with.
sense.
Yeah.
I like it just because having cards that state I can't be countered, it really puts your opponent in a huge bind. Typically, and Eric knows this because he and I are both blue players, you'll get into this weird counter war where you're like, okay, well, I do I'm going to Swords that. Okay, well, I'm going to, Swan Song.
Counterspell.
Yeah, I'm going to Counterspell. Okay, well, then I'll...
Arcane Denial.
All right, well,
I
I'll Swan Song it,
Oh, I Dispel.
Versus...
Force of Will.
Yeah.
Force of Negation.
Mana Drain.
Pact of Negation. Okay, why Pact of Negation? You're Pact of Negation. Like, it gets crazy. Versus this, it's like, okay, well, I Sword Your Guy. Okay, well, I'm going to Swan Song that. I'm going to cast Last Word. At that point, all the counterspells in their hand, they're kind of useless to them.
Yeah, but the problem with Last Word is its mana cost. 4 mana is a lot to hold up.
It is, but think about it this way. You have cards like Rewind, which is also 4 mana. It untaps 4 of your lands, which is true, but it is 4 mana that you have there, so you can always just, rewind it. Like, someone goes to Swords or whatever, you cast Rewind, this way you've got that 4 mana still up. And if you need to respond to something,
Is Rewind a different counterspell?
Yes. It's 2 blue, counter target spell that untap 4 lands. And there's also Unwind, which is the same thing, except it untaps 3 lands.
I guess it makes sense, because you do technically still have to have that mana up to cast it. Yeah, it untaps it, but you still need it in the first place.
Exactly. I mean, it's one of those things, too, that if you're running counter Magic, you're typically going to be like, okay, play a land, pass. Everyone knows...
Would be perfect in? Baral, Chief of Compliance.
Of course.
And then it'll only cost 3, and then you can counter everything.
Yeah, but at that point, you're playing mono counter spells, and that's just not a fun deck to go against.
I tend to follow the 3 CMC rule when it comes to counter spells. If it's above 3 CMC, I'm going to be very weary about putting it into my deck, unless it has a phenomenal effect.
Or
I don't think Last Word quite cuts it.
Or you can otherwise cheat out. Like, Force of Will is technically a 5 CMC, but no one ever casts it for 5.
And then there's Spell Swindle, which rewards you with treasure tokens. So even though that's 5...
Yeah, but that's $1 million to get up to, though. And that's... Spell Swindle, you feel bad because you're tapping out 5 in order to cast this, and then someone else just, birds it. That's just... It just feels bad.
You mean Swan Song?
Yeah, which is basically saying birds it.
That's fair. But I think
they throw a bird at it. Okay.
I think I'd rather run Spell Swindle over Last Word. So most of the spoilers for Throne have been seen, and we thought it'd be fun to go through and talk about the ones we're excited about. We excluded the Legends for this one because we're saving that for next week.
Before we get into our list, let's talk about the cycle of castle lands.
The first land in the actual cycle, there's one in each color. Let's talk about Ardvale Castle. It's a land that taps for a white. It also has this text that states it comes in untapped if you control another planes. Otherwise, this comes in tapped. So typically, you're going to have another
All
planes.
the castles have this text except relating to the land type they're a part of.
Yes. Now note that it says if you control a planes, which means those dual lands will count towards that.
Shock lands.
Your shocks, your
duels.
$1 million duels.
All those will count. This one specifically states that it will tap for whites, or you can pay 2 white, tap it to create a 1/1 white human creature token.
That's pretty decent if you have 4 mana, nothing to do with it.
I understand,
And
but
white
like,
likes tokens.
there's also, what's that enchantment that flips over to become a land?
I know there's Danto, which is something about it, and I know it's the first for it.
That basically does the exact same thing. It comes down for 1 white. When you attack with 3 creatures, it flips over to then become the first fort, which then taps for, you can pay 2 and a white to create a 1/1 with lifelink. That's just a better version of this. I'm not crazy about this particular.
Hey, less mana, get
I'm not
lifelink.
crazy about it either. I just thought up a situation where it could be useful.
I mean, and that's what they do with the Danto's thing too. Like, if you have any open mana available, you're just like, I'll just flood into this.
But that's the thing, is 3 mana and 4 mana are a very big difference.
And lifelink versus just normal are also a very big difference. I don't know why. You've got the Danto that's in standard currently. He exists. Why not give them something that gives lifelink too, or vigilance?
Even better than this land, Heliod, God of the Sun. Pay 2 and 2 white, get a 2/1 cleric. And that, you don't tap him. You can just dump infinite white mana into him and just make infinite clerics.
Yeah,
Well,
and that's a 2/1.
If you're running white weenies, I mean, this is just another land that makes another token.
Yeah.
Which, procs Anointed Procession and all that good stuff.
Yeah,
so,
True.
it takes some setup to make this okay, but it's kind of lackluster. Then we have Castle Embereth, the red one. Taps a red, and it's 1 and 2 red so it's 3 instead of 4. Tap it, and creatures you control get +1/+0 until end of the turn.
I wish this had
Haste. +1 and a haste would be worth it.
+1 and haste would be worth it. I was thinking more or less like first strike or something.
That would work too. That would be better than just +1/+0.
Yeah,
This is not worth it.
I mean,
It's not.
it's going into every goblin deck.
Yeah,
Because
that's
goblins,
true.
they're going to have a crap ton of it anyway, so just making their goblins even a little bit stronger works.
I mean, yeah, anything that can go super wide would benefit from this. But
Yeah.
now we have Castle of Lochthwain. It enters the battlefield tapped unless you control a swamp. Tap for a black, pay 1 and 2 black. Tap it. Draw a card.
Seems kind of good.
Yeah, right. This is really good. Oh my gosh. Wait a minute. There's a smudge. Just a second. Oh, then it says, then you lose life equal to the number of cards in hand.
Oh.
Why?
Well, that's a very black ability. Draw cards and lose life.
Yeah, but it's
drawing 1 card
to
for...
lose like 5 life.
Just play Underworld Connections. Put a swamp. Pay 3 mana once.
Even better, run this and then put Underworld Connections on this.
It's just like, let me just pay 3 mana, make this a little better.
Literally, the only deck that I could think that would want this is Greven, because the life you lose pumps him up.
Or RJ and I were mentioning Queen Marchesa a little bit, the one that cares about dethroning.
Because if you're dealing, because I played against the Marchesa deck where they were dealing a lot of damage to our opponents.
And they had the highest life total.
They had the highest life total, and they couldn't get dethroned anymore. Perfect scenario. You have 7 cards in hand, you activate this, you draw a card, you take 8 damage. Now you're below your opponents, and you can keep going.
With that, you're trying to situate your life total, and you're taking small chunks out of it because you're obviously going to be attacked or something like that anyway. So this is a huge... I mean, think about something like Ancient Tomb, for instance. It gets to the point where his life total gets so low, he actually can't even tap it for mana. Like this, I feel like it's kind of the same principle. It's like, oh, I need to draw that 1 card in order to actually maybe save myself, but I'm burning for 1 or I'm burning for 3. It's the only good time this actually works is if you have 0 cards in hand. And then you're just drawing 1, they're drawing 1 for your turn.
There's that, but there's also... There's ways you can get around it. Platinum Empyrean, your life total can't change.
If you're playing a bunch of lifelinky stuff.
This is supposed to be ooh, you're playing mono black, but this is not
supposed
good.
to link up with adamant and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
All told, the black castle isn't very good.
The next castle is Castle Ventress, which is the blue one. Comes in untapped if you control an island. Taps for a blue, and then you can pay 2 blue to tap it to scry 2.
That's not a bad rate.
If it was 1 blue, I would take it though.
Yeah.
That might be a bit much though then. I feel like that's probably a little too efficient, so to speak.
Yeah, but paying 4 mana, I mean, you're typically doing this on your opponent's end step or something like that, since this way you've got the mana open for counter spells or whatever, and then you're like, okay, well, end step, scry 2. If it was 1 blue, I'd say yes. Or even if it's keep it 2 blue, but give us scry 3. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think they could have made this 3,
Yeah, make it 3 and we scry 2, or make it 4 and we scry 3. Give us 4 mana is a lot.
Here's the thing. In my opinion, the castles in general aren't very good. So if they made this one really good and the other ones are still kind of garbage, then...
Personally, in my opinion...
This isn't great. This is okay.
Yeah. But in my opinion, the last one is actually the strongest one.
Yeah.
Well, I can agree on that.
Question.
I don't think it's great, but I think it's...
Castle Garenbrig. It's the green one, so it comes in tapped unless you control forest. Tap to add green. 2 and 2 green. Tap to add 6 green to your mana pool. Spend this mana only to cast creature spells or activate abilities of creatures.
Yep.
This is good. This is great in standard, and it's phenomenal in EDH. A Soul Ring and 2 forests. That's turn 3. You have access to 6 mana. It's only for creatures, but
I didn't
if you're playing
consider
mono
that,
green,
but that's gross.
if you're playing a high CMC green commander, you can have them out turn 3.
I can basically run this in Hydras and have him out turn 3.
But here's the thing. You guys are saying, the turn 3, having a Soul Ring, 2 forests, and this land, 4 out of the 7 cards you have in hand.
Yeah.
In the first couple of turns, this land is incredible. You're absolutely right. But when you get later in the game, 2 extra mana can help, but it's not going to win you the game.
I'm pretty sure someone can correct me in the comments on that, but I'm pretty sure you can't necessarily go infinite with this. Because it depends on how many times you're untapping. That's a question.
Yeah, but you can only use it to cast creature spells.
Well, yeah, but you can toss this into a walking ballista or something. That's it.
Yeah, that's true.
True.
Big green stompy plays. This land helps that out.
Yeah,
phenomenally.
You know what? This is better than a basic forest, so this basically goes in any green deck. Let's continue. Let's get into our list.
So we all picked out a bunch of cards that we liked,
4, 5, 6.
and I chose Phyrexian Intruder or Welcome Home. It's the Goldilocks reference. And the 3 bears.
Oh.
She's either a 1/2 for 1 human berserker that when she deals combat damage to a player, you may sack it. When you do, destroy a target artifact or enchantment. Or you can go on an adventure with her and pay 5 green, so 7, for a sorcery and create 3 2/2 green bear creature tokens.
So Goldilocks was spoiled basically first.
Yeah.
But no one actually knew what the text was.
And every Ayula player just was happy.
You know, the first thing I think of when I think Goldilocks is a berserker, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a tiny little girl that came in just kind of hungry, eating somebody's random food.
Took my stuff.
Well, it's implied she murdered the 3 bears because in her special art, there are bear rugs and everything around her. In her normal art, she has a bloody knife and a bear trap over her shoulder. So, obviously, bear decks would run this. 3 bears coming out is 3 Eula triggers. I don't know if I'd ever cast her for regular form, though. A 1/2 that needs to connect to sack it to destroy a artifact or enchantment is asking a lot.
That's true, but if you're putting in the bear deck anyway, it'd just be hey, I'm gonna swing in with all these bears. They're all pumped because of reasons. And Goldilocks, you're just okay, well, I'm not gonna block Goldilocks because this is 1 damage. Who cares?
The real queen of the bears.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I guess you can have Ayula fight all the threats that would be in Goldilocks' way.
Basically. The card I was actually most interested in is Inquisitive Puppet. It's 1 mana for an artifact creature constructs. It's a 0/2. And then when the puppet enters the battlefield, scry 1, and then you can exile the puppet to create a 1/1 white human creature token. So, small backstory. Pinocchio is actually one of my favorite Disney movies, partially because it was back before Disney actually censored stuff. So it was just watching the original as kids. It gets dark. Just smoking, turning into donkeys. Oh god, it gets dark. Anyway, I love this flavor-wise because he starts off as a construct, he's a puppet, and then he exiles him or whatever, technically dies, I guess, or doesn't matter. And then he actually becomes a real boy.
I feel this is a missed opportunity to bring the transform mechanic back, though. He could have transformed into a
real boy.
A real boy, yeah. Since that's the whole Pinocchio
but transform,
story.
That's a... because I was just thinking transform thing like werewolves, whatever. So it's you can't cast spells, and in that sense, I
was thinking he deals combat damage, or his adventure. You can have him enter in as a puppet, or you can have him adventure, and when at the beginning of the next upkeep, he comes back as a boy.
I can dig that too. I get because it's a 0/2, which means it doesn't have defender, so you can still block and then before damage sack it.
So it goes from 0/2 to 1/1.
Basically,
it's also 2 ETBs if you're doing Perforos or Impact Tremors.
Yeah.
All right, 7 dwarves. 7 dwarves cost 1 and a red. It's a creature dwarf, 2/2, and it says 7 dwarves get +1/+1 for each other creature named 7 dwarves you control. A deck can have up to 7 cards named 7 dwarves.
The flavor...
Dwarf tribal is real.
Whoever doesn't know this, if you play Commander, the rulings on cards override the game rules.
Yeah.
So even though EDH is singleton, you can only have 1 copy of a card in the deck, you can have 7 dwarves in your 100-card EDH deck.
Which I believe this is the first red card to do that.
Yeah.
Just having a bunch of stuff that pumps itself, its friends. It's cool.
Technically, you put Helm of the Host on this bad boy.
Oh yeah, it gets nuts.
It
gets nuts.
And there is a Boros dwarf commander, so if you want to go all in on the dwarf idea.
Depala, yeah.
Yeah, so there's the rats, Shadowborn Apostles, Persistent Petitioners, and now 7 dwarves, all in the land of you can have more than one of in your deck. So the next card that I picked was Epic Downfall. It's 1 and a black, a sorcery. Exile target creature with converted mana cost 3 or greater. Black doesn't get a whole lot of exile effects.
At least not
this is
ones that cost
one of-
only 2.
Yeah, this is a sorcery, so you're not going to be able to swords them, but...
I mean, still exiling anything, because it's power 3 or greater.
No, it's CMC.
Oh,
3 or
even better.
greater.
That's taking out
lot.
everything.
I like the art.
I would say this is a black staple.
There are other cards that do similar things.
It's a
don't they?
mono black staple, but like...
It's 1 and a black.
But I'm saying it's a mono black staple because... If you're playing mono black, you can't play Merciless Eviction, Utter End.
Anguished Unmaking?
Yeah, you can't play those. So if you're a mono black, then yes, this is a decent thing for it. I don't know if it's worth a card slot though, because it's a sword.
It's exile, not destroy.
That's true.
I think it's pretty cool. I
You
think
can get rid of basically any Eldrazi that's being a pain in the ass.
Yeah, and
Gets rid of anything that's indestructible.
Yeah.
And most things that are indestructible are more than 3 CMC.
Get rid of those the gods that shuffle back in now.
Get rid of the old gods, get rid of the new gods. That's just a god killer.
It is. Okay, maybe I'm overstepping by calling
No,
it
not
a
really, because
staple.
like I know I'm gonna die to it a bunch of times. I just don't right this second. There's too many good cards coming out. That's gonna be like on the bottom of my list of things to do.
Yeah.
But eventually I'll run into it and be like, oh right, that card exists.
Because I guess, yeah, when you're looking at a new set, you're looking at creatures and, like, game-winning things.
Yeah, a bunch
Removal is kind of in the back of your mind. It's
Yeah.
not the forefront. Except for Eric, because Eric is good at Magic the Gathering.
Not even that, but like there's always a symbol theory, and we did make an episode about this, like, cutting cards for that sense of, okay, well, I'm putting this in, what am I taking out? One of my next cards is Overwhelmed Apprentice. For starters, I feel like they messed up on this name, but we'll get to that in a second. It's a single blue for a human wizard to 1/2. When Overwhelmed Apprentice enters the battlefield, each opponent mills 2, or puts the top 2 cards of their library into their graveyard, and then you scry 2.
That's really good.
It's very good, especially for 1 blue. So you're talking about turn 1. Hey, everyone mill 2. And I'm going to look at the top 2. That's great. My thing is the name why. Overwhelmed Apprentice, when I read the name, I originally was like, okay, well, you're the one that's being overwhelmed, so you can't really think about it.
You're overwhelming your opponents.
Exactly.
Yeah,
But-
or
Which,
maybe-
by the way, opponents. I have noticed that recently in sets, WotC has been printing cards that reference multiplayer.
So, I think the idea with Overwhelmed is you being the wizard, the lead wizard manning the deck. You're overwhelming that poor little guy to do all that. You're making him mill people, you're making him scry, like, that's a lot on that little one.
That could be 6
Is that how
cards that poor little 1/2 has to mill.
Yeah.
And then he has to scry too.
You're
All right,
overwhelming
all
that
right.
poor little dude.
All right, I feel that makes more sense.
I have to do I apologize everyone listening, but I have to do my witch's voice for this. Bake into a pie. It costs 2 and 2 black. Instant that says, destroy target creature. Create a food token. I take your dragon and I bake it into a pie.
All right, Mother Hagra.
All right, what do y'all
it's-
think? It costs 4 mana. It's a destroy spell.
It's
4
just-
mana instant destroy spell, and how many do you make? Just 1?
You get a food token.
I like it because you're not necessarily getting 2 for 1, which is kind of nice. Or like, it's not a 1-for-1 trade, which is kind of nice. You're getting something out of it.
Yeah.
If you can manipulate food, awesome.
Oh yeah.
I think 4 mana is expensive for it though.
Oh, it is. But I take your Amara and I bake it into a pie.
Yeah, no. Flavor-wise, it's awesome.
Oh, it's delicious. I'm gonna run it in all my black decks only because I can bake your commander.
It's just
into a
Wilson
pie.
was like, yeah, he is right. 4 mana is a lot. I would just keep a murder. Be done with it.
Doomblade, murder, anything else.
Our next card is Bloom Tender. Wait, it's not Bloom Tender? Oh, let me... Oh, Dayboro Elder, okay. It's 1, a green, and a white. for a tree folk with vigilance. He gets +1/+1 for each color among permanents you control. And you can tap him for each color among permanents you control. Add 1 mana of that color.
So I'm gonna bake this to a pie.
Yeah, you definitely should. In a 5-color deck, he taps for 5 mana.
Well, here's the
Gross.
thing, is you have to have those permanents in play that have those colors.
But he himself taps for 2 right
two.
away because he's Selesnya.
Yeah.
I get that. I'm not saying he's bad, I'm just saying in that situation, it's not going to work.
Yeah, that's true.
What you
but,
do
like,
is,
it's,
you play Niv Mizzet, you draw him, and you play him, and he taps for 5 mana.
yeah,
Yep.
it's gross.
It spirals out of control.
Very, very
He's
quick.
gross. Get him. Play him in your Selesnya decks.
How much is
You
he
won't
getting?
regret it. He's a 1, a green, and a white.
Oh, so he's like 3 mana.
Yeah.
3
Got
mana
it.
taps for 2. Like, that's already
It's insanely good
really
value.
good.
Yeah.
Hopefully, this card can actually help out a tiny bit. It is Revenge of Raven. 3 and a black for an enchantment. Whenever a creature attacks you or a planeswalker you control, that creature's controller loses 1 life and you gain a life. There's a lot of enchantments that state whenever an opponent attacks you with a creature or whatever, they burn for 1. This also gains you life, which is great, and it's for each creature. I like this because once this is on the field, this is an instant. Tokens are never swinging at you because most tokens are like 1/1s.
Yeah.
They swing at you before blocks. You're gaining X life. They're losing X life, and you just take that all. You're basically at the same life total.
Wait, this just drains them?
well, because whenever a creature attacks you, they lose a life. You gain a life.
Yeah, the player loses a life.
So if you're talking with like 5/1/1 tokens, they're losing 5 life.
You're hitting yourself
gaining
with 5/1/1
5 life.
tokens.
Yeah,
But then you take the 5 hits.
and then you basically just go back. You go to your normal
Yeah.
life total. But the thing is, they just drain themselves for 5.
If you have infect, though.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they've got infecting. You're at Shoel, but like that's with most cards. This
Yeah.
I just really like just because it's an enchantment, which means it's going to be hard to deal with. So they're going to have to sit there and just dissuade your opponent from attacking you.
Going wide, it's a good defense.
Yeah, I just like even if you're not really fully just going wild, it's like okay, I've got like 4 or 5 different big things. Okay, well, you can attack RJ. Or you're gonna attack me and burn for 5 before I even block any of your stuff. I guess I'll just attack RJ.
Let's go shopping. Merchant of the Veil costs 2 and a red. It's a human peasant. That's a 2/3. It has haggle.
Wait. His creature type is actually peasant?
His peasant, yes. he's a
That
human
is
peasant.
hilarious.
Which means all changelings are also peasants.
Yeah, all changing
And
of
also
peasants, yeah.
nobles, the duality of man.
Pay 1 red mana, haggle, instant, adventure. You may discard a card if you do draw a card. And he also says, pay 2 and a red, discard a card, draw a card. I mean, 3 mana without tapping rummage? Not bad.
Yeah.
Wait, so his adventure is the same cost as his same effect as his regular ability?
You pay 1 mana and you haggle, aka rummage.
So, the next card we're going to talk about is the Cauldron of Eternity. It's 10 and double black
Here
for
you
a
go.
legendary artifact. But this spell costs 2 less to cast for each creature card in your graveyard.
So it costs 2.
Yeah, if you have 5 creatures in graveyard or
This
more.
costs 2 black.
Yeah. Whenever
Wait,
a
there's
creature
more.
you control dies, put it on the bottom of its owner's library. So you can't add more creatures to the cauldron when it's already out. 2 and a black, tap it, pay 2 life, return target creature from your graveyard to the battlefield. Activate this ability only anytime you could cast a sorcery.
Someone's gonna go ahead and say it.
Go ahead.
Cast Flashback Marauder, everyone sacks, everyone pings because of Tesa. Put Flashback into the graveyard, cast this because free. Play back out Flashback Marauder, everyone sacks, everyone pings because of Tesa.
Flashback dies, he goes to
the bottom of your
the
library.
deck.
Yes.
But the point is,
You can
you
use it
get 2 instantly.
And then you can do it again later because it's back in the library. Now here's another thing. First sliver. Because you put all these slivers of mine in the graveyard. Because you board wipe. Because of course you do. You're playing against slivers. I play the Cauldron. I can get those slivers back. Now whenever a sliver of mine dies, it goes back in the library rather than the graveyard.
Which means
Yeah,
you're
you keep
cascading
Then I
into
can
it
cascade
again.
into
Oh,
it
that's
again.
gross.
Yeah. So this
Ooh.
is way overpowered in my sliver deck.
That I didn't consider.
Yeah. Also, I noticed this says you control dies. So you can discard cards to the graveyard and then resurrect them.
Yeah.
So Entomb, Buried Alive, all those types of
Oh,
effects.
you can entomb and then instantly get it back. Oh, that's
You
bad.
can.
This is so gross. I hate it. I love it. I hate it.
I like reanimation cards. So.
No, you don't say. Mr. Muldrotha, Mr. Gitrog.
Oh
you
yeah,
don't say.
play this in Muldrotha. You won't regret it.
Well, would you want this in Muldrotha?
Yes,
Yes.
you would.
Because you can reanimate what's already in the graveyard, but
Yeah,
like,
but you can do this for a creature and then cast with Muldrotha as well.
well, how do you get stuff in the graveyard after that's on play? after that's in play.
You can still mill.
Oh, yeah. you
Dredge,
just
stuff in that
south middle.
sense. Yeah.
Dredge. Oh, this is a gross card. I'm
Yes,
saying
it
it.
is.
This
It's
is
gross.
gross.
It's a gross card. I'm not looking forward to running into it, but it's also one of those things that because you have to pay it 2 life, it does matter because you can only do it X amount of times. The fact you have to tap it does also matter.
Yeah, so you can't do it multiple times in a turn. Unless
Exactly.
you untap it.
All right. Speaking of crazy cards, since we're going to the crazy cards formats, I guess let's talk about some of mine. Dance of the Mance, which is going to be X, white, blue for sorcery. Return up to X target artifacts and or non-aura enchantment cards, each with converted mana cost X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. And then if X is 6 or more, those permanents are 4/4 creatures in addition to their other types. So, this exists.
I'm just gonna make sure you read that right.
Yeah, totally read it right. It just brings back all of your non-aura enchantments. So, like, it's not going to the Theft deck because most of those are auras. But the new Alayla deck. This is going directly into it as soon as I pack it because that deck is full of just artifacts and enchantments. You get them back, which is nice. They go right to the battlefield, which is awesome.
Cards and graveyards can't be targeted artifact or can't be targeted spells or abilities. There we go.
Yep.
That counters it.
Basically, Silent Gravestone just hoses this complete plan. But let's do this. You're putting
It also
aside-
hoses any other graveyard deck. So
True.
I
But,
don't know if I'd want my artifacts to be 4/4 creatures.
well, that's the thing. If X is more than 6, you just have to make X 5.
Yeah.
You're still getting back everything.
5.
Well, that's it. It's converted mana costs or less. So, how many converted mana costs artifacts and enchantments are more than 5? I
We just talked about one.
We did, but
yeah, true. All these new ones are
the thing is,
million mana.
you're still getting back when you. Let's say your
Micro
graveyard,
Gladys.
let's say your graveyard is
Darksteel
getting
Forge.
like I don't know, like 30 cards in it or whatever. It's late game, whatever, 30 cards, or you're against some other guy's mill. You make X equal to 5. You're getting back a decent
Soul
chunk of
Ring,
stuff.
Signets, Skull Clamp, all kinds of
Door of Destinies,
random
like,
artifacts.
it's random.
Wayfarer's Bauble.
Anything
Yeah.
that you might have stacked previously, yeah, those will all just come back. Plus enchantments, Risk Aesthetic, Propaganda, Go See Prison. Those are all
Smothering
Those are all
Tide.
3.
And there's all in these colors too.
Sphere
Yeah.
of Safety is exactly 5. That counts. Like, yeah.
That
Yeah.
is.
You're getting all these back right back to the field. The downside is the fact that most stuff that kills artifacts and enchantments, unlike Vanna Black, usually exile it. Merciless Eviction, for instance. We talked about, like,
Planar Cleansing.
Planar Cleansing destroys.
Oh, it destroys?
Yes.
Okay.
But here's the rule, though. If you do play this card, whenever you cast it, you have to look everybody in the eye and say, "Let's dance."
That's very, very true.
For
Comments?
all my knight boys out there, Shining Armor. It costs 1 and a white. It has Flash, and when Shining Armor enters the battlefield, attach it to target knight you control. Equipped creature gets +0/+2 and has Vigilance.
That's actually pretty decent.
What's its CMC?
What's the equip
Two.
cost?
It costs. Well, its equip cost is 3.
Ew,
It costs 1 and a white, but you just flash it onto a knight.
Yeah, true, but if you're not running any knights, that's equip cost 3. That's a lot.
Then why would you play this in anything other than knights? That's why I said for my knight boys.
Because it's
out
white,
there,
Voltron.
Hey,
SRAM.
Screw SRAM.
give SRAM Amorphous Axe. There you go.
This one's for my idea, boys. The Fires of Invention.
Here we go.
3 and a red for an enchantment. You can only cast spells during your turn,
Okay.
and you cannot cast more than 2 spells each turn.
Sounds good to me.
You can cast spells with converted mana cost less than or equal to the amount of land you control without paying the mana costs. So,
That was the sound of him dying to every shock in your hand.
well, only 2 of them at a time.
Only 2? But if you have the Dwarf Lord, then it's only 8.
Oh wait, so I'm questioning
You can
Fireball. with
cast
this.
spells with converted mana cost less
No.
than or equal to the amount of land you control
Without
without
paying
paying their
mana.
mana costs.
So then X would equal 0 then for
X
Fireball?
would equal 0 for Fireball.
Okay.
No, you can. Not you have to, you can. So if you have 5 lands, you can cast anything 5 or less for its mana cost. But if
Or-
you have 5 lands plus Soul Ring or something, you can still cast a 7 CMC spell.
Well, I
Well,
think
then
the
how about
idea
the-
is
so
you,
then the
you tap out
theory
for a
is-
Fireball and then cast something else for free.
Yeah, so like then that go like Fireball, because you can only cast 2 spells per turn, yes?
Yes. And
Let's
only,
say like
you can only
this-
cast spells during your turn.
So then you can go like tap out for like a Fireball, X equals to like 9, and then just twin cast for free.
Essentially, yeah.
I mean,
Or not twin cast, twin
Death
cast
is
is blue. Reverberate.
Fork, Reverberate,
Put
things
this-
of that nature, yeah.
put this in a Mardu deck with Death to the Deathless and just kill everybody. You do that
yeah.
with Fork?
Yeah.
Or whatever the one you said, Twin Cast?
There are lots of fun
Well,
stuff
Twin Cast
you
is
can
blue.
do with
Oh,
this
is it? Never
card.
Yeah, that's why I said. Yeah, Reverberate is the
What I want to know is its interaction with Vidalcanori. This spell says you can only cast spells during your turn, but
Yeah.
Vidalcanori says you can cast spells as if you had Flash.
This spell has priority because it specifically says on your turn.
Yeah.
If it said you can only cast spells at sorcery speed, then yes, Vidalcanori would overrule that. But this one says on your turn.
When you go to edit it after today, we'll ask Justin, because this could be a case of
Time stamping?
time stamping.
I'm 98% sure that this overrules because it says
Me
on
too.
your turn.
But I'll ask Justin.
We've been wrong before.
Yes,
Yeah,
we
it's-
have been wrong.
it
Aaron's
is-
been wrong a lot.
I know, but it specifically says your turn. That's my point.
Yeah, but Flash allows you to
Yeah,
bypass
it
that. I don't know.
allows you to cast. Well, read Vidalcanori. Vidalcanori says that that your
As though
instance
they had Flash.
as though they had flash, which flash indicates the fact you can cast at instant speed. This specifically states on your turn.
Yeah. You can still cast anything at instant speed with the Dakanori, but only on your turn.
Yeah. Here's a question: would you put this in the werewolf deck? Because you're typically want to flip over your guys or not flip over your guys anyway, so this kind of limits you from doing it from casting spells.
I wouldn't play this card, to be honest with you. It's just the two only casting 2 spells is a bit too much, I think. To
Yeah,
limit
but like you're
to
getting
get it useful.
Yeah, but you're getting free.
I'm gonna test this in Chandra. Maybe it'll do good,
Ooh.
maybe it won't.
You know what? Things that like abilities that you can dump mana into. Anything with fire breathing. You cast the fire breathing dragon for free. You swing with it, and then you dump all of your mana into the fire breathing cost because you can't cast any spells. You still activate abilities.
I don't know,
I like it
it's,
too.
it's decent. It's jank. It's in red. That's kind of what they want to do.
Red free casting.
Yeah.
Definitely a lot of fun stuff to be had.
Speaking of fun stuff to be had, how would you like to draw some cards?
I'd like to draw cards.
I don't like the sound of that. Not coming from you.
Are we gonna take damage for the amount of cards in our hand
No.
that we drew?
All right, so it's into this. Into the story. It is 5 blue. Ignore that for a second. Because, for an instant, and it states this card costs 3 less to cast if an opponent has 7 or more cards in their graveyard. Commander, that's going to happen.
Seems pretty.
Yeah, that's like turn 5. Okay, that's everybody.
Exactly. So then, it minuses by 3, so that it becomes 2 blue.
Okay.
Draw 4 cards.
A
Play 4
card-
mana, draw 4 cards at instant speed.
Wait, instant speed you
It's an
said?
instant.
It's an instant.
That may be worth considering.
I know.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Because I have like is it not Thoughtcast? It is Thoughtcast in my Sealy deck where it's cost 4 and a blue, but it has affinity for artifacts.
Yeah.
But it's a sorcery.
Yeah, and then you draw like 3 cards. Something super.
You draw
like that.
2 cards.
Yeah, you draw 2 cards. This is triple better.
Yeah.
It's an instant. It's typically going to be like in standard. It's going to do nothing. But a commander, it just says if a opponent.
I don't know. If someone hits you with 4 overwhelmed apprentices, that's 8 cards right there, friend.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
drawing 4 cards, instant speed. I also like the flavor text of this too. The boundary between real and imaginary is as thin as a paper and just as easily torn.
My favorite card. It shakes up more than you'd think. Ginger Brut.
Oh, I love this card.
It costs 1 colorless. It's a 1/1 artifact creature, food golem. It has haste. You can pay 1 and it can't be blocked except by creatures with haste. You can't catch him.
He's the gingerbread man.
And then you can pay 2, sack him, tap him, and gain 3 life.
So
he's
the food ability.
He's food.
Okay. So before.
Oh, no.
Wait. The unlabeled vial was not vanilla extract after all.
Oh no, it was not.
It was not.
Okay, so before these guys literally tear something apart, let me first mention the fact that upon editing, I'll actually put yes or no, because there was a lot of talk beforehand around the internet if Wizards meant to put this food as an actual creature type or not. If it is still a creature type, the answer is yes. If it's
better
not,
be.
it'll be no. Here's the reason why. Changelings. Any
Changelings.
changeling.
Changeling.
All changelings have the creature type of cards that have been printed in Magic that are legal or unlegal or whatever. They have their card type.
Legal.
If this food type is still a food, that means that all changelings are now classified as food, which means you can sacrifice a changeling
Changelings
to
are
then get the
food,
food
not
trigger.
friends.
Yeah, it's a whole entire thing.
So changelings are peasants, nobles, and food?
They are.
They're really tasty boys, aren't they?
They are.
Cannibals around the world are celebrating.
McAtee at the card store. Hi, McAtee. He said he likes to say all changelings are hamburglers, and I agree with that.
I agree with that too.
But yeah, essentially, like anything, because there's things in this set. Aaron will pull up a card because I don't want to look it up.
Yep.
That just says sacrifice a food on it.
No
Gilded
cost.
Goose.
Plenty of them.
Sacrifice a food, you get a color of any mana.
The Witch is familiar.
Anything that just says sack a food, you can sack any changeling to now.
Continuing on the mono red train is Iron Crag Feat. 1 and triple red. Sorcery. Add 7 red to your mana pool. You can only cast 1 more spell this turn.
Oh, right, this is the last stand thing.
Ritual.
This is the last stand. This is the best ritual ever made. Turned from 4 to 7. This is for that last fireball.
This is going in dragons.
This is a sorcerer too, right?
Yeah, it's a sorcery.
So here's the thing. You need Vidalcanor in order to make this work, but you just do like this. It's just like a one-ditch, oh, he's going to kill me or whatever before I go. I'm going to do the red thing. Take all my power. One last punch.
And I throw a fireball into my own face.
Yeah.
Throw a fireball in my own face. It's the last effort.
It's the last ditch.
The final countdown.
Yeah.
The last.
Any X spell, just have a whole bunch of mana to throw it in there, and
one last punch.
it's very red and very deadly because this can be the game winning.
Speaking of last punches, let's talk about another X spell. So, my last card is going to be Stone Coil Serpent.
Oh god, don't even. I'm leaving. Bye. I don't want to talk about this card. This card's too stupid.
Oh yeah, the endless one / Ugin's Conjurant.
/ actually no, it's not what I thought it was going to be.
Alright. So it is X for 0/0 artifact creature snake. That's important. It has reach, trample, protection from multicolor. It states the fact that it enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it. So literally every point of the game, this card is good.
Yes, unless you're facing a mono deck, in which case.
Even if you're facing a mono deck, you dump it down as like a 12/12 trample with reach. The f they're gonna do?
Yeah.
Like. You put it there like a 5/5 trample.
+1/+1 counter decks. You can give this thing lifelink and indestructible.
The fact that it's an
and
artifact means it goes into every single deck. We all know how powerful Wormcoil Engine is or something in that sense. Just because
This kind of looks like Wormcoil Engine.
it does.
Yeah.
Like, it's really cool. I like the fact that they didn't give it like, they're like, oh, they could have went like Death Touch, Lifelink, or whatever. They went Trample and Reach. Reach
Relevant
is
abilities.
so important because that means that you can just put this can kill the Ur Dragon. This can kill Emrakul. Because it can reach up there and smack him out of the freaking sky. Like,
It can.
it's great. The fact that it's Trample means...
I mean, this set has.
It
a
won't
bunch of
even get
weird,
hurt from
stupid
their
things.
dragon.
Yeah.
Emrakul hurt it though.
Oh, right, because it's protection from both. Ooh, I didn't consider that.
What's with you and not realizing what cards do after you read them?
I don't know. They're new
Well, no,
cards.
technically, if you make this a 14/14, then it won't get hurt by Emrakul.
Well, that plus. So
They
here's the
don't
thing
get
about
hurt, but it won't
protection.
die.
I was thinking protection in the sense of like multicolored kill spells, something in that sense or whatever. I didn't consider the fact that with this, their commanders, if they're more than one color, they can't block it. It's got protection.
And if he's on defense, he takes no damage from them.
Yeah, this is a
is
lot
so dumb.
stronger than I originally thought. It's good. It's gonna be great. Trample's awesome.
Save your Beast Withins for it.
Yeah. Save your.
Or Naturalize, it's an artifact. Any artifact kill spell, take care of this real quick.
You can't use Putrefy though. That's 2 colors.
That is 2 colors, yeah.
But anyway, that was kind of our list. So let's jump over to our favorite segment, which is going to be Last Call.
Last Call.
You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
All right, so final thoughts. What did we miss? Obviously, there's going to be some more cards that are coming out. We're going to talk about the Legends next week. But what do we miss currently? What's your favorite cards coming out?
Let us know.
Did we talk about them? Did we ignore your favorites? I'm sorry if we did.
Are you going to try to make the jank 7 Dwarfs deck like Eric is?
If you want us to have a more direct answer to your response, tweet at us.
Yeah. Or leave a comment down below.
I also want to thank all the actual new subscribers as well as the old subscribers that are currently rolling up on screen right now. As well as special thanks to our channel advisors, which is going to be Pope and Chris and Justin, because you guys are awesome. Oh, and Rob, hi. Even though you probably didn't make it to this far.
Nope.
Yep. Don't forget to subscribe to our Twitter, which the handle will be up on screen right
I
now,
don't think you
and
subscribe to Twitter, but
down
sure.
below.
See you later, guys.